friends, and welcome back to Nourish with Regina, where we talk about transforming your plate and transforming your life. I'm Regina, a certified nutrition coach, wife, mom of four, and someone who truly believes that real health doesn't come from extremes. It comes from understanding your body and working with it, not against it. Today's episode is one I am honestly so excited about because it connects a lot of dots. We're talking about blood sugar, hormones, and gut health, and why they are all connected. And if you've ever felt like, I can't lose weight no matter what I do, I'm bloated and tired all the time, or eating healthy is too expensive and too time consuming, I want you to stay with me, because this episode is going to bring you clarity and hopefully some relief. I want to start with a bit of my story because this topic is personal and I think many of you can relate. Ever since my first child was born, I have struggled severely with weight loss. And I don't mean struggled in a small way. I mean, I literally tried everything. Every fad diet, every trendy plan, every quick fix. And every time I would get my hopes up, I would feel disappointed again. And during that season of my life, I was also so exhausted all the time, but I just chalked it up to life. Honestly, I had small children at home. I was busy. I was doing a million things. I had a job. So I just told myself that's what motherhood feels like. But looking back now, I realize it wasn't just motherhood. My body was running on a blood sugar roller coaster, and no one ever really explained that to me. And it wasn't until I learned how to eat in a way that kept my blood sugar consistent that I finally started losing weight, feeling better, and feeling like my body wasn't fighting me anymore. That's why I teach this, because I know what it feels like to be stuck and frustrated and to feel like you just want to give up. So let's talk about what blood sugar actually is. Your blood sugar is simply the amount of glucose, sugar, circulating in your blood. So first of all, glucose isn't evil. Your body needs it. Your brain needs it. Your muscles need it. The problem isn't having glucose. It's the spike and crash style, the ups and the downs. And here's what happens physiologically. When you eat a meal that's mostly refined carbohydrates like muffins, cereal, white bread, sugary coffee drinks, pastries, your body breaks that down quickly into glucose. And then your blood sugar spikes fast. And then your pancreas releases insulin, which is the hormone that helps pull glucose out of the blood and into the cells. Insulin's job is actually protective. But when blood sugar spikes happen frequently, insulin stays elevated over time, and when the body then can become resistant if that's happening often. So, and then here's what it gets in real life then. When blood sugar spikes and then crashes, you may feel hungry again quickly, shaky or irritable, suddenly exhausted. We talk about those sugar crashes, so that's a real thing. Anxious or overwhelmed, and craving sugar like it's an emergency, like I need chocolate or I need some kind of sweet treat. If you've ever felt that you need something sweet at 3 p.m. or 9 p.m., it's not a lack of willpower or a character flaw. That's often your blood sugar. So now let's layer in another hormone that gets overlooked, cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. And cortisol is not bad, just like inflammation isn't automatically bad. And we talked about that before. Cortisol helps you wake up. It helps regulate blood sugar and blood pressure, and it helps you respond to stress. But when cortisol stays high, it affects your blood sugar. Cortisol signals the body to release glucose into the bloodstream because your body thinks it needs fuel to survive whatever stress you're in. So stress, emotional stress, lack of sleep, overtraining, undereating can raise your blood sugar even if you're not eating sugar. And when cortisol and insulin are both elevated too often, it can contribute to stubborn fat storage, increased cravings, disrupted sleep, inflammation, and that weird but tired feeling. This is one reason why women can work out like crazy, eat very, very little, and still not feel better. Your body doesn't interpret that as health. It interprets it as stress. Now let's connect this back to inflammation, because this is where things really start to click. Frequent blood sugar spikes increase something called oxidative stress, which creates inflammation in your body. Over time, chronic blood sugar swings contribute to joint pain, fatigue, increased belly fat, brain fog, digestive issues. And this is why I always say weight struggles are often not just about calories, they're about communication inside the body. Blood sugar, hormones, stress, inflammation. And when those signals calm down, the body can become more responsive. Okay, so now let's work in that gut piece and connect those dots, because you knew this was where I was going. Every episode since the new year has kind of been focusing on gut health and why it is the foundation of overall health. And this is just like one more piece of that puzzle. And it's so interesting and I love it so much. But your gut microbiome affects how you respond to food. Two people can eat the exact same meal and have completely different blood sugar responses. Research published in Cell and other major journals has shown that gut bacteria can influence glucose metabolism, insulin sensitivity, inflammation markers. And if your gut microbiome is out of balance from the standard American diet, antibiotics, chronic stress, ultra-processed foods, your glucose response can be extremely more exaggerated, which means bigger spikes, harder crashes, more cravings, and more inflammation. So if you've been thinking, why does my friend eat that and feel fine, but I feel terrible? It's not your imagination. Gut health and metabolic health are deeply personalized. And healing the gut often makes blood sugar easier to manage without feeling like you're constantly trying. Now for my women listening, especially those 35 and up, let's talk about why this matters even more in midlife. During perimenopause, estrogen and progesterone fluctuate. These hormone shifts can impact insulin sensitivity, hunger signals, and sleep. And that's why women often feel like I didn't change anything, but my body did. And they're right. Now, for women with PCOS, there's often insulin resistance involved as well. So whether it's PCOS, perimenopause, or just chronic stress, blood sugar stability becomes one of the most powerful tools we have. Not because you need to restrict, but because your body needs consistency and steadiness. Now we're going to make this practical. I love simple frameworks because they remove decision fatigue. Here's the rhythm that I recommend for most women who feel inflamed, bloated, or stuck in weight. We're doing 3 balanced meals a day, 1 intentional snack, and enough hydration throughout the day. We're not going to be grazing all day. We're not starving ourselves and then overeating when we can't take it anymore. It's going to be steady, consistent support. So here's an easy meal template. Write it down if you need to, but each meal should include protein, which is the anchor of your meal. So that's what I want you to think about first, whether it's a lean protein like chicken breast or tuna, or maybe a fatty fish like salmon or mackerel. The protein is the anchor because especially as we age, we need that protein in our diet because it's going to help keep our muscle mass. And we'll talk about weight-bearing exercise and things later, but for sure anchor those meals with protein. Then you're going to add fiber. So either vegetables or berries, some fruit maybe, sweet potatoes, something that's going to give you that fiber intake. About 1 teaspoon to about 1 to 3 teaspoons of a healthy fat. Make sure you have that because that helps everything process well. And a smart carb option. And sometimes those things can be 2 in 1. You know, like if you do the sweet potato, that's your carb option and it's great in fiber. This is going to stabilize blood sugar and reduce cravings and support your hormones. So if you feel like you need to snack all day, it's because you're missing something in there. A lot of times the culprit will be protein, but all of our food work in harmony and unison to really support and nourish our body. So we need all of those things to help us feel satiated throughout the day. Like we don't want to just keep grabbing things and eating them. So simple formula there. For your snacks, if you want to do that one intentional snack a day, protein plus fiber plus fat. So some examples of that are an apple and peanut butter with maybe some walnuts, Greek yogurt with berries and chia seeds. Chia seeds are a superfood. They're wonderful for you. They'll help you with your circulatory system and things. So they're just wonderful. Maybe a turkey roll-up with cucumber slices and hummus. If you want to make it like a wrap, you can use lettuce leaves. Cottage cheese with cinnamon and flaxseed. Maybe throw just a little bit of apple chunks in there. Super great snack, high in protein. And you have your fiber and your fat in there too. So that is fantastic. So this is the kind of snack that makes you feel supported and won't lead to making you feel hungrier in an hour. So your best low inflammatory carbs. We're not anti-carb. Carbs are an important part of a balanced diet. We are smart carb people. So some of my favorite low inflammatory carbs are, I've already mentioned this one, sweet potatoes. Squash is fantastic. Berries are great and usually high in wonderful immune supporting antioxidants. Oats, if you can tolerate oats. If you're gluten-free, make sure you get the gluten-free verified oats, but oats are a great source of fiber. Quinoa is wonderful. You get your protein and fiber there with quinoa, and I've even seen recipes where they use these for breakfast in place of like oatmeal or grits or something like that. Quinoa is a better option and can be super delicious. And then beans and lentils, if your body can tolerate those. So these carbs come with fiber, lots and lots of nutrients, which means they digest slower and help prevent those blood sugar spikes. Remember, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep our blood sugar at like an even level throughout the day. Okay, so before we move on, I want to do a little myth busting moment because there are a few messages out there that keep people stuck and stressed, and I want to clear them up in a way that feels calm and doable, because this is about working things that work into your life and not deprivation or starvation or feeling like you're missing out on something. And I want it to be easy for you to just slowly make these changes so it becomes habit really over time. So we kind of touched on the first myth already, but the myth that carbs are bad. Carbs are not bad. Carbs are a macronutrient, and your body actually uses carbohydrates as a primary source of energy. The real issue isn't carbs, it's the type of carbs and the way we eat them. So when you eat refined carbs by themselves, like crackers, chips, white bread, sugary coffee drinks, that's when we tend to see the blood sugar spike. And then it quickly crashes. But when you eat carbs in a balanced way, paired with protein, fiber, and healthy fats, they can absolutely fit into a blood sugar supportive, anti-inflammatory lifestyle. So here's a great real life example. If you want pasta, great. I love pasta. I think it's delicious. It's an easy dinner time meal. Add some grilled chicken or meatballs, a big side salad with olive oil. Now it's balanced. And so also the type of pasta you eat. I love the brown rice and quinoa pastas. There's chickpea pastas. And all of those are going to be a lot healthier and better for you than the typical, bleached wheat or white flour pasta. So eating that kind of pasta with the protein and the fat, it's going to be so much more balanced. It's going to be satisfying. So you're going to feel fuller longer. You're not going to want to snack. So if you have this for dinner, and I recommend dinner be the last time you eat for the day, you really, really want to be intentional about the plates we're building so it supports you and your body. And your blood sugar response will then be much steadier after that. If you're going to do rice, like a brown rice or even quinoa or some other kind of grain, pair it with salmon and roasted veggies. The goal is always don't eat carbs alone. So instead of fear, let's think strategy. Myth number 2, fruit is basically sugar. This one makes me so sad because fruit is one of God's gifts. Truly, it's sweet and delicious and just makes you feel good inside. Fruit contains natural sugars, yes, but it also contains fiber, antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamins, and water. The fiber point of fruit is so important. It kind of helps balance the sugars in the fruit. That's why I am not a fan of juicing or juicing diets or fruit juice in general, because what juicing does is it keeps the sugary part of the fruit and eliminates all of the fiber in the fruit. So what the fiber does is it helps slow down your glucose response. So fruit's not the same as candy. It's not the same as soda. For most people, fruit is absolutely a healthy, nourishing part of a balanced diet. If blood sugar is very sensitive, we may just choose fruits like berries more often and pair them with protein, some of those less sugary fruits. Protein that you can pair fruit with that goes great is Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, nuts. So here's an easy way to do it. If you want an apple, have it with peanut butter. So it's adding that protein into it. If you want berries, layer them in some Greek yogurt with chia seeds. You have a delicious fruit parfait. My husband loves to freeze the Greek yogurt, so it's more of an ice creamy kind of treat. Those pairings make it satisfying and stabilizing and doesn't cause that spiky reaction for the blood sugar. So that's not restriction, it's wisdom. Myth 3. If I'm bloated, I should stop eating fiber. So this is a tricky one. Sometimes when people increase fiber too fast, especially raw veggies, beans, or cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, it can cause temporary bloating. But the solution isn't to avoid fiber forever. The solution is usually to go slow. You will build a tolerance and choose easier to digest options. Think cooked vegetables, soups, sweet potatoes, berries. Those are gentle ways to support the gut without overwhelming it and to introduce fiber at a slower rate. Myth number 4. I have to be perfect for all of this to work. This is the biggest myth of all. You don't need perfection. You don't have to be ready. Just start. You need consistency. And honestly, you need a plan that will work in your real life, not an unrealistic routine or expectations that will collapse the second you get too busy. Small changes matter, and they build momentum. Okay, myth busting moment over. Now let's talk about how to make this realistic when life is busy and healthy eating feels expensive or time consuming, because that is a complaint I get a lot, like that it's so much more expensive to eat healthy, or I just don't have time to do all this. Friends, I do hear you, and I want to gently challenge the idea that healthy eating has to look, because gut-friendly, blood sugar-friendly meals can be simple and affordable. So a few strategies. Frozen vegetables, they're still vegetables. Canned salmon or tuna counts. Rotisserie chicken, absolute lifesaver, especially on those busy evenings. And slow cooker meals save time and stress. I love my slow cooker. It pretty much lives on my counter. That's how often I use it. You don't need to cook gourmet meals like all these fancy plate dinners that you see on Instagram or Pinterest. You need repeatable meals that support your body and your daily life. So I want to pause and let you reflect for just a moment. So close your eyes as I ask you these questions. Where do I feel the blood sugar roller coaster most? Is it cravings, energy crashes, late night snacking, mood swings? What is one small change I can make this week to bring more steadiness? Because small wins matter and build consistency over time. All right, open your eyes. So hopefully you've been able to identify where you're feeling those swings the most and what the symptoms, for lack of a better word, is of those and how we can address that. Remember, go back to the formula where we're doing protein, fiber, fats, and carbohydrates. Balanced. We're balancing our plate. So if you take nothing else from this episode, just try and remember that when you're building your meals. So if this episode helped you connect some dots, I would love for you to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you listen. And if you want to support implementing this in real life with structure, recipes, and coaching, you can visit my website at www.nourishwithregina.com to explore my different coaching options. We're starting a new coaching group in February that I'm really excited about, because February is the month of love, and we're going to be focusing on heart health next month. And before we wrap up, I want to give you a little preview of what's coming next, because next week is the beginning of a brand new February series, and it flows perfectly from what we've been talking about today. We are going to be supporting your heart health for the month of February. Next Tuesday's episode is called Love Your Heart, the Real Heart Basics Every Woman Needs. We're going to be talking about heart health in a way that feels calm and doable, including cholesterol, blood pressure, inflammation, and why blood sugar balance actually plays a role in heart health too. And I'll give you a heart healthy plate template, grocery staples, easy swaps, and movement tips you can start right away without feeling like you have to overhaul your whole life. So if you've ever been worried about family history, cholesterol, or just want to feel better and protect your long-term health, that episode is for you. Thank you for joining me today, friends. Remember, we have new episodes every Tuesday at 11 on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. If you like the video portion of it, follow along, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.